All right, welcome back to Physics Essentials. Today's video should be significantly shorter than the last one. We're just going to learn about speed and velocity. Once again, make sure that you've got your sheet of targets out so that you can make sure that you get those as you go through the video, and make sure that you're taking notes, examples and definitions. All right, here we go. So speed, the symbol for speed is simply just a lowercase letter s. Speed is basically how fast an object travels. I debated giving you guys a more sciencey, mathy, textbooky definition, but I think this is good. It's how fast an object goes. You guys all know this. All right. Velocity, the symbol for velocity is a lowercase letter v. It's the same thing as speed. It also measures how fast an object is going, but it includes direction. So this is kind of similar to distance and displacement from the last video. Hopefully you remember that displacement includes direction. Distance did not. So this time, speed is how fast you're going. Velocity is how fast you're going, plus direction. All right? So let's again talk briefly about units. If you're driving down the street and I say, hey, what's your speed? You're going to tell me how many miles per hour you're going, right? And hopefully this makes sense, right? Because the faster you're going, the more miles you'll go per hour, right? Every hour that you travel, you're going to go more miles if you're going faster, right? So when we measure speed and velocity, the units for either speed or velocity are always some unit of length per unit of time. All right, so there's a whole bunch of options. You could have miles per hour, kilometers per hour, feet per second, meters per second. All right, and all of these are kind of the same idea, because the faster you're going, the more units of length you will travel with every unit of time that goes by. All right, ultimately make sure you know the abbreviations. Meters per second is, once we get farther into the class, we're going to almost always use meters per second. So please make sure you know that. We'll usually write it meters per second like this. You know, if you don't like meters, occasionally we'll use feet per second, kilometers per hour, or hour, either way. And then miles per hour. A lot of times I'm sloppy and I use this, but it's actually not really very good because, I mean, it's on street signs all over the country, right? But technically M is meters, not miles. All right, so when we write MPH, we're going to all sort of know, oh, that's miles per hour. I know that because it's on street signs. To be more sciencey, probably the better way to write miles per hour would be to write it MI per hour. All right, so anyway, those are some different units that you can use to measure speed and velocity. That is going to be really important as we move forward, so please make sure you know those units. Because eventually we're going to have problems, and I'll say, you know, Joe drives his car 50 miles at 25 miles per hour. How long does it take him? And you need to be able to identify what the 50 miles is and what the 25 miles per hour is. All right, so I guess the other big difference to notice is this, that because velocity includes direction, if Al is driving north at 45 miles an hour, so here's Al, 45 miles per hour, see, I did it, sloppy, miles per hour, and Bob is driving south at 45 miles per hour, then they both have the same speed, right? They're both going 45 miles an hour, but their velocities are different, all right? Because Al is going 45 miles an hour north, so his velocity would be 45 miles an hour north. Bob is going 45 miles an hour south, all right? So in this example, what would happen is, for both of our guys, we'd say, all right, Al, your speed, 45 miles an hour. Bob, your speed, 45 miles an hour. But if we then went back and told them what their velocities were, over here we'd go, Al, your velocity, 45 miles an hour. It's positive because you're going north, Al. And over here for Bob, we would say, Bob, your velocity, sorry, is negative 45 miles an hour. Bob's going to go, why is it negative? Because that's what Bob sounds like. And we will tell Bob that it is negative because he's going south, which in math class is down, which means that it's negative. All right? So, gotta watch your signs. All right? Now, because of this, because speed is a measure of how fast you're going, and velocity is a measure of how fast you're going with the direction, what this ends up meaning for us is this. It turns out that there are two different ways that you can change your speed. All right? The two ways you can change your speed in a car are to speed up or slow down. Go faster, go slower. Right? Those are the only two ways to change your speed, because you got to change how fast you're going, right? All right. It turns out, though, there are three ways to change your velocity, because you can either change your speed or your direction. So for velocity, there's three ways you can change your velocity. You can speed up, slow down, or turn, right? Because anytime you turn, that's a change in direction, all right? So in other words, in our previous example, Owl is driving at 45 miles an hour, right? That's his speed. So if we wanted him to change his speed, he would have to either go faster. Oh, now I'm going 55 miles an hour. Or he could slow down and go 35 miles an hour, right? So those are three different speeds, all right? Whereas over here, Bob had a velocity of negative 45 miles an hour, right? So what are the ways he could speed up? What are the ways he could change his velocity? He could speed up, so he could keep going south, but he could go faster. He could slow down, keep going south, but go slower. Or he could turn. Maybe he, turns and goes west or whatever. We're going to do linear motion, so let's just say that he, instead of going south, now goes north at 45 miles an hour. Okay? So those are the three different ways to change your speed. Over here, let me put numbers on these. This one was speeding up. This one was slowing down. All right. What do we got? We got one more slide here. Right. So finally, the next video is going to be about what's called average velocity. Average speed a little bit, but mostly average velocity. So in general, when you hear the word speed or you hear the word velocity, what we're talking about there is technically what's called instantaneous speed or instantaneous velocity, because what we're talking about is what the object's speed or velocity is at that exact moment in time, at that one precise moment. If you're driving down the street and I say, hey, what's your speed? You're going to look at the speedometer and you're going to go, oh, I'm going 45 miles an hour. But that's how fast you're going right at that moment. Okay? So in general, when we use this word speed or velocity, we're talking about what's happening at that moment. Okay? In the next video, we're going to learn about average, and that means something different, as you will see when we get to that video. All right, I will stop talking now. Have a good day.